is the new CX-50 Hybrid a get it or skip it vehicle. We're showcasing the 2025 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid Premium Plus in Soul Red Crystal Metallic over black and brown interior. Over the turbo variant, you're getting 16 more MPGs for the city, 8 MPGs more to the highway. It's going to be lower with the clearance, lower with the capabilities, but it's going to be near the best in class with MPGs. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to throw in some pros and cons. I'm going to compare this against the competition to see if it is a get it or skip it variant. Hybrid trim is going to have 7.8 inches of clearance, which is the lowest in all of the CX-50. It goes up to 8.6 inches when you get into the Meridian Edition and the turbo variants. Because this is the Premium Plus, we have steering response LED headlights, daytime runnings. When you go into the base, you're not going to have the steering response LED headlights. The grille is going to have the configuration that goes around it, and they'll have some horizontal bars that go into the headlamp assembly with the honeycomb design, keeping it all gloss black. The lower gets the matte black with the air pocket on the side, and underneath the hood is going to share the same powertrain as Toyota. So if you're thinking about getting the RAV4, you want maybe a smoother ride, you may want to look at this because we have the 2.5 liter 4-cylinder hybrid with a combined of 219 horsepower and 163 pound-feet of torque paired to an ECVT transmission or electronically controlled variable transmission that's going to achieve 39 MPGs for the city, 37 MPGs for the highway, all-wheel drive. That's the only way you can configure the Mazda, which when you go into Toyota, that's not going to be the case. When you're starting to think about competition, that's why this becomes a get it vehicle. 20-inch wheels because we are on the Premium Plus, 17-inch wheels otherwise, hybrid badging with the flared out fenders and the side rocker. It just looks a little bit more dynamic and yet giving kind of an off-roadsy look. So if you're thinking about the CR-V, this is going to save you money and you're going to get better MPGs going this route. Power folding side view mirrors is going to start on the premium trim. The Premium Plus adds the auto dimming side view for the driver. Now, one con that I have right off the bat, which ultimately would make me skip it, is if you go into the Premium, you only are missing maybe 2 or 3 features opposed to the Premium Plus. So these 3 trims that they have, they give you a lot of standard features, but really the Premium is the sweet spot, all of which for the hybrid tow up to 1,500 pounds, which is still going to be more than Honda, it's going to be more than Toyota, and that's the same powertrain shared from them. Double wishbone front suspension, which you're not going to get with either of those two, with a multi-link rear suspension, Honda and Kia. Now they are bringing a lot to the table. They're doing a lot of refresh, making their vehicles a lot more awesome. I mean, that's the only way I can put it, especially with the pricing that you're at. But Mazda gives you more luxury premium features at a fraction of the price also. And if you don't want a hybrid, they option a turbo and a non-turbo, which they have a total of 7 different trims when you go to that configuration. 4 for the non-turbo, 3 for the turbo trim, which ultimately, when you get into the turbo, that's when it unlocks all the sweet spots, more or less in the Meridian Edition trim. But when you're going into the hybrid, you're already getting almost all of those standard features even on a base tier. Combination LED taillights, the lower gets dual exhaust finishers, but they're smaller than the turbo variant. That's the only con that I have there. But then in the Pro, at least they're still giving us that dynamic stance with the suspension laid out. So if you wanted to go Toyota, now you can go to Mazda and you're going to get the drive that Mazda gives, which is a lot more smooth, more quiet, but you're going to get the performance from Toyota. So I mean, for me, that could be a skip it or get it, but I mean, which way would you go? I'm pleased with the hybrid because I know that the engine and the transmission is bulletproof, and when I'm backing it with this, it just changes the whole ball game because now I'm not really competing against Toyota or the Mazda CX-5. I've actually put it above all. Power liftgate going into 29.2 cubic feet of storage, which is 2.2 cubic feet less than the non-hybrid. You have a 12-volt charger, LED interior lights, a couple areas here on the side. Underneath the floor gets a spare tire. The best part about these vehicles, you can split fold the rear bench in the back at a 60-40 split, and now a maximized cargo to 56.3 cubic feet. The key fob to the CX-50 Hybrid Premium Plus. 10-way power seat adjustment, For the driver, 6-way power seat adjustment for the passenger, heated ventilated leather seats. I like the contrast stitch. It'll be a leatherette mixture going into the preferred. The premium will have heated seats, leather seats, and that will start with the power seat for the passenger, memory for the driver. The stitch work continues on into the passenger side, keeping a sporty design. 8 speakers is standard on the preferred. 12 speakers through Bose goes into the premium. All trims get a 10.25 center screen. Let's fire it up. Dual climate control settings is standard across the board, and I like that we still have physical buttons. They do a good job with that. A 12-volt charger here. You have a little storage tray here with the cup holders in front. Rotary knob for that infotainment screen that has navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless, Sirius XM. That's going to start on the premium. Put it into reverse, and we get a reverse camera. The trajectory does not expand, and it doesn't cover up the whole screen. You don't receive any heads-up display, but you get an auto-dimming rear view mirror on the premium. The premium plus adds the home link. You also get the traffic sign recognition. That's really the only difference between the two trims. It's going to be soft to touch, opens up as a 2-tier with 2 USB-C ports, and it's a pretty deep storage pocket. Wireless charging pad that starts on the premium trim. MI driving modes. You have a total of 3 different driving modes, starting with power, normal, and trail. This 7-inch informational display can go through an array of different content for the driver, so it will change out depending on the driving modes that you are in. It will make it look a little bit more sporting. With a leather-wrapped steering wheel, it's heated because we're in the Premium Plus multi-function. Leg space is more than enough. Pano moonroof that starts on the premium trim. LED interior lights, or map lights is what it's called, as well as a sunglass holder. Headroom does a pretty good job carving it out. Door panel and dashboard connect together, and the sporty vibe stays alive with the way the air vents are structured. I like that they pay attention to detail, and it's soft to touch everywhere. One touch up and down for all the windows with a long storage pocket. For the back seats, this is the opening that you have to fit 2 more with the cup holders and armrests. USB-C ports and air vents in the center with storage only behind the passenger seat. Those USB-C ports, that starts on the premium. Now the door gets stripped of the materials up here, but it's still soft right in here with almost the same size storage pocket. Sitting behind me, you're gonna have plenty of leg space. Headroom, it's quite good. It doesn't really bulge inwards or outwards, so I kind of like that, but I wish it would go up a little bit more. I'm at 6'3". Sliding into the center, feet space is gonna be shared, but the rails are pushed up. Butt and leg space is not going to be too compromised unless this seat is back in a different position. Then my knees are going to be pretty much against it. It's the same thing with me in the driver's seat. Headroom starts getting a little bit more compromised. 219 horsepower combined. Is it enough to get you to point A to point B and not just get MPGs? That's what we're going to see to start off with. Turn radius is about 2 lanes. I love it. You're doing performance, and people probably are thinking, why the heck is he doing performance? It's a hybrid. Because I want to see how fast I can get light to light, and I'm still getting 39 MPGs to the city, 37 MPGs for the highway. That is awesome in itself. Sharing the same powertrain as Toyota, but it's getting better aesthetics in the interior, a better suspension. But I do hear that engine. It's going to take me to some pros and cons. Starting off with the pros is the total value. None of the competition is going to come near this. This is definitely a reason why I would get it. But the technology, I feel like they kind of lack in that department. It's good enough. You're not expecting to have something like a tablet, so I kind of appreciate it, but it's really far from the driver. You have to use the rotary knob for pretty much everything. Wireless connectivity, I do like that, and it all gets unlocked in the premium trim. So it also makes the premium plus trim kind of a skip it, because the premium, you're getting everything more or less unlocked except for like 2 or 3 features in the interior, which we went over, and maybe 1 or 2 features on the exterior, which we went over. So it doesn't make sense why they offer for a $grand-ish more, considering you're getting standard all-wheel drive on all trims. but I wouldn't go to the base trim because you will lose quite a few features. Now you might be hearing some bass that's not from this 12-speaker Bose sound system. It's from whoever's in front of us or behind us. But overall, I am pleased with the sound deadening because we're just a hair over 40 grand. And when we're talking about hybrids, going against any competition, you're typically around 45 grand to go all in. That's not the case with Mazda, and you get a better suspension layout. So I do like that. Maneuverability, the steering is relatively light. It doesn't feel wide or long. Braking, it does grab pretty good. It doesn't necessarily stop on a dime, but it doesn't feel too heavy. So I appreciate that because you are adding a little bit more weight going from the CX-50 turbo to non-turbo opposed to the hybrid. Stop in the middle of the road. Let's rock and roll. I mean, it's just a total value, which, I mean, I can't stress enough of what you're getting. With the quality interior, you're getting it backed with Mazda and Toyota blend. All reasons why I would get it, but ultimately the reason why I would skip it is it doesn't make sense the way they do the trim base. They should do it where you kind of can just pick features, because ultimately when you go from the premium to the premium plus, I mean, you're talking about a grandish difference, and you're not getting a huge difference in value. Yes, I'm getting a heads-up display, but it's just not enough for me to say I want to get that trim. Ultimately, why would I skip this? Is because I prefer the more power. Yes, I'm going to be losing MPGs, but I also have more capabilities with towing, with payload. Now, this is normal. Sport or power. So it will change a little bit of the drive when you're using the actual MI drive modes. I would suggest to keep it in power for the majority of the time. Otherwise, you will be hearing the engine because you're going to be hitting a higher RPM to get the vehicle motivated. And ultimately, the reason why I would skip it is because it does feel a little bit more heavy. Even though it does have the suspension layout, it's not going to be as athletic. They've added weight because of the battery, and it just changes the drive when you're putting with the eCVT transmission opposed to the 6-speed automatic transmission that Mazda usually puts in their vehicle. I do applaud them for doing this because now you are getting a bulletproof vehicle, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, membership, TikTok, and Instagram. Leave a comment and a like. And I'd like to thank Coast Mazda for giving us this 2025 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid Premium Plus for our car review.